Walking alone is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's one of the most misunderstood aspects of a powerful life. Society often conditions us to believe that being surrounded by others is a measure of success and value. That the more friends you have, the more accepted you are, the better your life must be. But the truth is, the strongest individuals are often the ones who are willing to take the journey alone when necessary. They don't fear silence. They don't need applause. And they don't crave constant company. A woman who walks alone has learned to trust herself. She doesn't second guess her instincts or silence her voice to make others comfortable. She knows that when she chooses to walk away from noise, distractions, and even people she once leaned on, she's not losing anything. She's gaining focus. She's stepping into a deeper level of self-awareness. It takes strength to say no to comfort and familiarity, especially when the road ahead is uncertain and full of unknowns. But chosen women are built for that kind of path. There is a unique kind of discipline that comes from walking alone. You learn how to push yourself without anyone cheering you on. You become your own motivation, your own counselor, your own accountability partner. You learn how to sit with your emotions rather than run from them. You get real with yourself about what you want, who you are, and what you're called to do, and in that process, you become unshakable. People who rely on others for their sense of direction will always be vulnerable to outside influence. Walking alone also means you're not afraid of being misunderstood. You don't need everyone to get you, to approve of you, or to walk beside you in order to feel confident. Chosen women understand that being different isn't a curse. It's a calling. They know that not everyone can handle the weight of their destiny. They accept that some people will leave, not because they're simply not meant to go where they're going. And that's okay. Elevation often requires separation. It's not personal, it's purpose. Many of the most powerful moments in life happen in solitude. Ideas are born, prayers are answered, healing begins, and revelations are received, not in a crowd, but in quiet places. That's why chosen women protect their peace. They don't need to be seen to feel valuable. They don't need to be loud to be heard. Their presence speaks before they say a word, because it's been refined in private. So if you're walking alone right now, don't be discouraged. Don't mistake your solitude for abandonment or failure. You're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're not invisible. You're just being set apart. Keep walking. Keep trusting. Keep becoming. Because only the chosen are called to walk paths others wouldn't dare to take. And when the time is right, you'll realize that every quiet step you took alone was. Separation is often preparation, though it rarely feels that way in the moment. When life begins to strip away relationships, routines, environments, or even parts of our identity that once felt secure, it can feel like loss, like rejection, like something has gone terribly wrong. But in truth, separation is not a sign of failure. It's a sacred invitation to grow, to shift, and to align with something greater. For those who are chosen for more, separation is not optional, it is necessary. When you're being prepared for something higher, the old version of you can't come along for the journey. That means certain people, habits, and places will start to fall away. You may feel disconnected from people you once felt deeply attached to. Conversations that once brought you joy might suddenly feel empty. Spaces that once felt like home may begin to feel uncomfortable or restrictive. This is not a coincidence, it's a signal. You're outgrowing the environment that once fit you because your purpose is calling you higher. The process of separation can feel lonely, but it's never wasted. It's during this time that you build the internal strength you'll need to carry the weight of your calling. You learn patience because preparation never happens overnight. You learn resilience because walking away from what's comfortable takes courage. You learn how to trust something greater than your feelings or your fears. And slowly, without even realizing it, you're becoming equipped for the very things you once prayed for. What felt like isolation turns out to be divine alignment. Sometimes separation is protection. You may not understand it in the moment, but some connections are removed because they would have caused more harm than good. Some doors are closed because they weren't built to support your future. The things that don't make sense now often become the clearest in hindsight. And one day you'll look back and thank God for every unanswered question in every uncomfortable season, because they were all part of your preparation. Separation is a test of faith. It asks you to trust the unseen, to believe that there is purpose in the pause, and that solitude is not punishment but positioning. It's where your roots grow deeper, your vision sharpens, and your identity becomes unshakable. So if you find yourself in a season where you feel removed, detached, or misunderstood, take heart. You're not being cast aside, you're being called up. You're not being forgotten, you're being formed. The silence has something to teach you. Not everyone can handle your purpose, and that truth can be difficult to accept, especially when it involves people you care about. It's natural to want the people closest to you to understand your journey, to support your vision, and to walk beside you as you chase your calling. But the reality is, when you're chosen for something bigger, something that carries weight, influence, and impact, not everyone will be able to come with you. And that's not a reflection of their worth. It's simply a reflection of the magnitude of your mission. Purpose has a way of exposing what's real and what's temporary. When you begin stepping into your calling, it requires discipline, sacrifice, and a level of focus that many people aren't willing or able to maintain. The more you grow, the more intentional you become. You start moving differently, thinking differently, talking differently. You no longer settle for surface level conversations or meaningless distraction. Your time becomes valuable. Your energy becomes sacred. People will question your decisions. When you start making moves that don't make sense to them, they'll wonder why you're no longer interested in the same things or why you've become distant. But what they don't realize is that transformation often requires separation. When you're called to lead, to build, to create, or to break generational patterns, you have to make choices that go beyond the approval of others. You can't shrink your vision to fit into someone else's comfort zone. Sometimes the weight of your purpose is so heavy that even you wonder if you can carry it. That's how you know it's real. It stretches you, it humbles you, it forces you to grow. And while it may feel isolating at times, you're never alone. Every step you take in alignment with your calling is guided, protected, and supported in ways you can't always see. The ones who are meant to walk with you will align naturally. They won't need constant explanation or reassurance. So let go of the need to be understood by everyone. Let go of the guilt that comes with outgrowing old environments or connections. Your purpose is not up for debate. And it's not your job to convince anyone of its value. Keep building, keep believing, keep becoming. The right people will catch the vision not because you forced them to, but because they were meant to. Until then, walk boldly, walk fully, and remember that being misunderstood is a small price to pay for being in alignment with who you were born to be. Aloneness builds character and vision in ways that nothing else can. It is in the quiet, in the stillness, and in the solitude that we come face to face with who we really are. While many fear being alone, those who are truly chosen come to understand that aloneness is not a punishment. It is the space where distractions fade, masks fall away, and authenticity is born. It is where you stop performing for the world and begin tuning in to the voice within. Oh, when you're surrounded by noise, it's easy to get lost in other people's opinions, expectations, and agendas. It's easy to be influenced, to blend in, to compromise who you are for the sake of acceptance. But when you're alone, there's no one to impress, no crowd to follow, no spotlight to chase. You're left with only yourself, your thoughts, your values, your dreams, and your doubts. And it's in this raw, unfiltered space that the real work begins. You begin to discover what truly matters to you. Aloneness tests your integrity. It reveals whether your convictions are real or just echoes of someone else's voice. It asks you to make decisions based on what's right, not what's popular. It challenges you to keep showing up, even when no one is watching. That kind of discipline, the kind that is built in private, is what sets true leaders apart. Anyone can be consistent when the spotlight is on them, but it takes strength to stay committed when no one's clapping, no one's calling, and no one's checking in. But aloneness doesn't just shape your character, it sharpens your vision. When you're away from the noise, you begin to see more clearly. Your vision is no longer clouded by comparison or confusion. You stop asking what everyone else is doing and start asking what you are here to do. You begin to dream again, not small dreams that speak to the core of your being. You start seeing possibilities where there were once only limitations. Some of the greatest visionaries in history had to walk alone before they could lead others. Their time in solitude wasn't a detour. It was a necessary season of preparation. In that quiet place, they developed the mental resilience, emotional intelligence, and spiritual clarity they needed to carry out their assignment. They learned how to stand alone so that when the time came to stand before others, they wouldn't crumble under pressure or bend to opinion. Their vision was born in silence and built in stillness, and that's what gave it staying power. So if you find yourself in a season of aloneness, embrace it, lean into it. Don't rush through it or try to fill it with noise. Let it do its work in you. Let it strip away what's false and strengthen what's real. Let it show you who you are and where you're going. Because what's being developed in the dark will one day shine in the light. And when that day comes, you'll realize that the time you spent alone wasn't a set. They choose purpose over popularity, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. In a world that constantly rewards visibility, applause, and validation, it takes uncommon strength to turn away from the spotlight and stay loyal to something deeper. But chosen women, those who are called to do more, be more, and impact more, understand that popularity fades, but purpose remains. They know that being well-liked means nothing if they're living a life that's out of alignment with who they truly are. Choosing purpose means being misunderstood. It means turning down opportunities that don't align with your values. It means saying no to what's trendy so you can say yes to what's timeless. It means walking away from circles that don't feed your soul and choosing silence over noise when you need clarity. It means building something real even when no one is watching, even when no one is clapping, even when it feels like everyone else is getting ahead by cutting corners or chasing attention. Popularity, by its nature, is about perception. It's about how things look from the outside. But purpose? Purpose is about substance. It's about who you are when the cameras are off, when the room is empty, when there's nothing to prove. And that's why purpose is not for the faint of heart. It demands sacrifice. It asks you to trust what you can't see and to build what. It challenges you to choose growth over comfort, depth over attention, and faith over fear. For the chosen woman, the applause of the crowd can never outweigh the approval of her spirit. She doesn't move to impress others, she moves to fulfill her calling. She understands that her worth doesn't come from how many people follow her, but from how deeply she's following the path laid out for her. She may not always be the loudest voice in the room, but when she speaks, it carries weight because it's rooted in truth. She may not be in every photo or headline, but her presence is undeniable because it's backed by purpose. Walking in purpose often feels like walking against the grain. People may question you, distance themselves from you, or even mock you for not chasing what they consider difficult. But those reactions are just evidence that you're operating on a different frequency. You're not here to impress, you're here to impact. You're not here to blend in. You're here to stand out in a way that can't be faked or duplicated. And the impact you make by being true to your purpose will outlast any moment of popularity you could ever gain by compromising who you are. Choosing purpose also means being patient. It means trusting the process when progress feels slow. It means staying committed even when no one sees the effort you're putting in. But that quiet consistency, that invisible discipline, is what builds a foundation that lasts. It's what separates those who fade when the trends change from those who endure, who rise, who lead. So when the world offers you applause for playing small, for fitting in, or for choosing visibility over authenticity, pause. Remember who you are. Remember what you're building. Remember why you started. Because in the end, the ones who change the world aren't the ones who were the most liked. They're the ones who stayed faithful to their purpose no matter the cost. Walking alone leads to destiny. Even when the road is quiet, unfamiliar, and uncertain, it's easy to think that progress only happens when you're surrounded by people, by support, by applause. But real transformation often takes place in solitude. When you walk alone, you learn things about yourself that you would never discover in a crowd. You learn how to be still. You learn how to listen. You learn how to trust your own steps, even when no one else is walking with you. Destiny is not found on the crowded path. It's not discovered in the comfort of the familiar or the safety of the majority. It lives in the unknown, in the wilderness, in the quiet spaces where you can hear your own soul speak. Walking alone, just a physical act. It's an emotional and spiritual journey. It requires courage to leave behind what no longer serves you, even when it meant something once. It requires strength to move forward without confirmation, without constant reassurance, without someone always telling you that you're on the right track. There's something sacred about solitude. It strips away distractions and forces you to confront what's real. When you're alone, you can no longer pretend. You can't rely on other people's energy to carry you. You have to find your own. You have to face your fears, your doubts, your wounds. And instead of running from them, you learn to heal through them. And that healing makes you stronger. It prepares you for what's ahead. Because destiny doesn't just require talent, it requires depth. It requires wholly. Many of the world's most impactful people had to walk alone before they ever led anyone. They had to be set apart. They had to go through seasons of isolation, not because they weren't good enough, but because what they were carrying was too important to be watered down by the crowd. They had to learn how to move in silence, how to build in private, how to trust the unseen. And that's what made them. Because when you know how to walk alone, you also know how to lead with integrity, with strength, and with vision. So if you find yourself in a season where you feel like no one understands your path, take heart. You're not lost. You're being led. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. Every step you take alone is preparing you for a future that's bigger than anything you can currently see. Don't rush it. Don't resent it. Embrace it. Because walking alone isn't a detour. It's the way to destiny. And when you finally arrive at the place you were always meant to be, you'll understand that every quiet mile was worth it.